All right, welcome back to another episode of the Black Bullion Show. Finally, it looks like the mainstream is finally waking up. Now, for the longest time, they looked at gold bugs, a term they often use as a pejorative, but they looked at us like we were crazy basement dwellers that lived with our moms. Now, up until last year, I'd have you know that I was on the second floor. I was a second floor dweller living at my mom and dad's. Huge difference right there. But anyway, all that aside, they look at us like we're crazy because we're forward thinking and we don't just stick our heads in the sand when we hear bad news. We actually do something about it. And well, it looks like the mainstream has finally gotten the memo, but find out which mainstream news source they are shortly. If you're new to this channel, please hit that big red subscribe button right down below. Also, please hit the like button. Helps to get this economic evangelism right on out there to the masses to bring more people into precious metals. All right, so NBC News wrote this article entitled, "Gold just hit $2,000 an ounce, but that's not necessarily a good sign." Now, even though it's good that they're highlighting gold here, the article is riddled with bits of misinformation about, the merits of gold. But the important thing that this article is pointing towards is that the economy is in terrible shape. This is pretty huge for a mainstream news source to actually say this. So let's get started here. Just going to start with this quick quote. "Gold has become the safe haven of choice," said Matthew Miller, an equity analyst at CFRA Research. Got to stop right there. An equity analyst. He does have a focus on metals and mining here, but he does analyze equity. So it's nice to see a balance here. Let's continue. A lot of the stock market gains this year have just assumed that everything is going to be fine. If that doesn't happen, we think the stock market gains that happened are certainly at risk. Today's economic and market conditions create a perfect storm for soaring gold prices. The market is not confident that we have witnessed the end of the Ronies, said Giles Coughlin, chief currency analyst at HYCM. Stock markets may be making modest daily gains, but the chance of a second outbreak, which seems to be increasingly likely, could result in these gains being lost. Historically, the biggest drawback of investing in gold is that it doesn't pay dividends like a stock or interest like a bond. There is an opportunity cost of holding gold, Miller said, but the Federal Reserve's open-ended pledge to hold interest rates near zero has thrown a wrench into the equation. With the return on the 10-year Treasury bond hovering right around 0.5 to 1%, more investors are concluding that the trade-off of forfeiting those paltry returns is worth the added perception of security. There is a big market sentiment impact in 2020, Miller said. There are a lot of skeptics out there looking at the stock market and saying there are a lot of cracks in the real economy. It's a matter of what does the real economy look like when you take away all the stimulus that's out there. And that's an important takeaway, guys. It's an important note to make. What does a still sickly person look like when you take away the life support? But of course, even though NBC has written an article like this, I'm sure the majority of people will remain skeptics until the bottom has, fully dropped. And, honestly, I'll be real with you guys. In dollar terms, when it comes to this whole thing, my now I am younger, so wealth isn't that big, but my wealth increased by $7,000 in dollar terms since May. And I'm only holding on to gold, silver, and cash. Now, I personally don't like to measure my wealth in gold. I like to look at it by weight because I like focusing on the longer term, which is gold and silver. But for those of you who are still sitting on the fence during these times, I don't know what other news you need to see or you need to read here. I mean, you got mainstream sources saying, hey, look, there's a reason why gold is doing this because of the economy. You got younger guys like me who had just been sitting around, and then, oh, $7,000 worth. You know, obviously the dollar has gone down, I think, in value 10%. I think since March it was. I read I have to check that number out, but it's gone down 10%, which is insane. So you have to take these things in consideration as far as what you plan on doing. Now, I'm not here to tell you what to do. I'm not a financial advisor, but I would say just take a look at gold and silver. Know what it's good for. You know, they mentioned things like, you know, if you hold on to it, there's an opportunity cost, but don't compare it to stocks or bonds. Compare it to currency. That is what you need to be comparing it to. But guys, thank you again for watching. Please hit the like button. Please subscribe if you're new. It's Black Bullion.